In this video, we are going to talk about how to find and attach sources to Ancestors in Family Tree. And I'm going to start with the easiest way to do this, and that's using the record hints that are provided by Family Search. So I'm in the landscape view of my tree, and I have made it so that one of my ancestors is the focus. And this allows me to see his ancestors and his descendants. And you can see from this view that there are a bunch of different colored icons on the screen. And these little squares or little icons help me to see what kinds of family history work I can do, kind of provide a little direction for me, can help me see if temple work needs to be done or if I have problems in my tree. Up here is the Show menu. I'm going to open it. This is where you can decide what you see in your views and what you don't see. I currently have my portraits turned off just because it tightens up the screen. But these are the other things that I have turned on that I would like to see. I have little squares with the temple symbol in them. These help me to know about temple ordinance work either that needs to be done, is reserved, or needs more information. I've got record hints, these little blue squares. I've got purple research suggestion squares, and I can also see these red exclamation marks which indicate that there is some sort of a data problem there. So those are the different things that Family Search provides so that I can get my family history work done. And we're going to start today looking at the record hints. So you can see around I have a variety on several of the people here in my tree, these little record hints. What record hints are is suggestions of possible sources that Family Search has identified based on the information that is already in the tree. So Family Search has taken the information I have, say here for John Coates, and it has put it into the search engine in the search part of Family Search, and out from that has come some possible record hints. Now in the case of John Coates, there's just one record hint, and it is the 1901 England census. Now I can also see these record hints not just from the landscape view, but I can also see them from the person page. So if I click on John Coates and I click person, it opens up his person page, and over here on the right hand side of the person page are the record hints. There's also research suggestions are shown here as well. We'll talk about those in a different video. But here are the record hints. We can see them right from here. And that is not the only view that we can see the record hints from. If we go back to the landscape view and I select descendancy, now I've got a little tight chart that's just going to show the descendants of John Coates and Maria Parker. And also from here I can see those icons. I can see research record hints, research suggestions. If temple work needed to be done, I could see that from this view as well as any data problems that were there. But we're going to go ahead and work off of the person page. So I'm going back to his person page, and I am going to go ahead and look at this record hint. So I notice that John Coates already has 3 sources attached to him. And it looks like this might be one additional source that proves that all of the relationships are correct and some of the information here is correct. So when I clicked on the source, I got a little summary of this part of the England and Wales 1901 census. It gives me some things like when the census took place, where it's taking place, and just some other facts that are found on the census record. And as I scroll down now, I can see relationships. So I have a John Coates married to a Maria Coates, and children Thomas, Richard, William, George, Elizabeth, Mary Ann, Maggie. And then there is a niece living there, Eliza Cutler. So what I want to do is try to find out if this matches up with my ancestor and his family, and if all of the information that's in Family Tree is correct, and if I need to change anything. One of the things I like to do before I attach a record is I like to view the record, and in this case we can view the record. I'm going to have to go outside of Family Search to find my past in order to do that. So I'm going to click View Partner Site, and I can do that because I have my free account. for being a member of the church. So it took me in to find my past, and this is the 1901 census record. And so I can see here is the family: John Coates, Maria, Thomas, Richard, William, George, Elizabeth, Mary, and Maggie, and then the niece. And this record gives me how old everyone is, so I can estimate birth years. It gives me what their current occupation is, which is good when you're moving from year to year to verify that person that you're looking at is the same person. And it tells me where they were born. And so, as you can see, most everybody here, except for George, was born in Blackburn, Lancashire in England. So, is this my family, this part of my tree? I'm going to go back to the person page tab, and let's scroll down and look. And so we have a John Coates married to a Maria. We know that they were married in Blackburn. We know John Coates was born in Blackburn. And we've got Elizabeth, Thomas, Richard, William, Mary Ann, Margaret, which could be a Maggie, and George, and then a John. But John was born in 1901. So in this 1901 census, we should see all of these people: Thomas, Richard, William, George, Elizabeth, Mary Ann, Maggie or Margaret. And then, of course, John would not have been born yet. So I think that this source is this part of my family. It should belong here, and I'd like to attach that source not only to John Coates, but also to everyone else in the family. So I'm going to go ahead again, and I'm going to click on that source now that I've verified it and made sure it's correct. And I'm going to click this button down here, Review and Attach. So when I click Review and Attach, what opens up is called the Source Linker. And it's called the Source Linker for a really simple reason, and that is that it links the source, which in this case is the England and Wales 1901 census, to someone in Family Tree. And so right now, though, I see one problem with the link, and that is because, so anywhere where it's green, that source has already been linked up or connected to the person in Family Tree. So someone has already connected this 1901 census to Thomas Coates, one of the sons. And so that's what I'm seeing here. But what also it looks like has happened is someone has connected a reference to Maggie Coates with John Coates, the father. And so I'm just right now, because that is incorrect, Maggie Coates is not John Coates, and obviously it needed to be matched up here with Margaret. I'm going to detach this link. So all I have to do is click Detach, and up comes my Detach the Source box, and I'm just going to put connected to the wrong person, and it looks like I made the mistake because this is when it was attached back in 2012, and I believe that was before some of the census, the relationships were available. I'm going to go ahead and just click Detach. So that's going to detach, and now we'll go ahead and attach the source correctly. All right, so attaching the source is as easy as a two-click process, and we'll start at the top. So looking at the record again, these were the names or the people in the record, and these are the people in Family Tree that they match up to. So Family Search has done a good job of trying to match everything up for me. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the record by clicking the Attach button. Now I can add as a piece of other information that they are living in this place at this location during the census, and I do want to do that. So I'm going to click Add. And I could add a reason, but honestly I feel like when you attach sources, unless there's something unusual about the source or something needs some explanation, the reason you're attaching the source is it proves that the person who you're attaching it to is that person. It's almost like kind of like a duh thing. And so I feel comfortable not putting a reason in for this particular source. This is the family. So I'm going to go ahead and click Attach. And this is going to turn green, which means that now there is a link to the 1901 England census on John Coates' person page. So let's go ahead and attach it to the rest of the family. So I do Maria. Again, I'm going to add where they are living in 1901 and click Attach. And let's do Elizabeth, Add, and Attach. And Thomas was already done previously. So let's go ahead and do Richard, William, Mary Ann, Margaret or Maggie, and finally George. And again, I see in Family Tree that there is another son, John Coates, and I also see that he was born in 1901, so there's a very good chance that he was born after this census was taken. Now, Eliza Cutler is a niece, and she is not in the direct line of this family, and so I cannot connect her right now. But I could search for her and find her. I do know that there are Cutlers in this line. I do know that one of Maria Parker's sisters married a Cutler, so chances are she belongs in that family. But I can't do it from this particular source linker. Okay, so when I'm done attaching the source, I can, if I wanted to go view the record again, I could do it here, or I could also do it here. If I wanted to look at the picture of the image, I could do it here. But I just want to go back to John Coates' person page in Family Tree. So I'm just going to click this link here, and it's going to take me back to his person page. And now you'll notice that that record hint is no longer here. But if I go down here to sources, that record hint is now an actual source that has been attached, and if I click on it, I can see that I created the link to this source today. And if I wanted to go view it, I could go ahead and click here and view that source again. So that is the easiest way to find and attach sources in Family Tree. Let's go look at one more. So I'm going to go back to my tree view. And we are actually on the descendancy view. So let's work on the descendancy view. And let's look at one of these other sources. Let's look at the source for John Coates, since we didn't get to attach a source to him. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. This is a record for a John Albert Coates, an England birth and christening record. So let's take a look at that. So let's do it from his person page. So I click on his name, I get the summary card, and then I'm going to go to his person page. So here is this record hint for a John Albert Coates. And let's take a look and see if it matches up. So this record is for John Albert Coates. He was christened on the 22nd of October 1902 in Royton, Lancashire, England. Father's name John Joseph Coates, mother's name Mary. Well, that does not match up at all, because my Coates is not John Joseph Coates. The mother is married, is Maria, not Mary. And this part of Lancashire is not where the family is from. So even though he was born in October of 1901, according to what's in Family Tree, could have been christened a year later in October of 1902. This is not, this record does not belong to this individual. And so instead of doing review and attach, I'm actually going to click not a match. And I'm going to just put a quick reason in. I'm just going to say that the parents are different and the birth location is also different. And I'm going to go ahead and save it. Just giving a basic reason why I'm not doing that. All right. Now let's go back to the tree. And let's open up Elizabeth Coates. We're clicking on the arrow, and we've got Riley's here. And you can see I've actually got some green temples, but that temple work can't be done at this time. And here is Joseph Riley in the 1901 England census. Let's take a look and see if that is him. So again, I'm going to do it from the person page. I just like doing it from there. Click on Joseph Riley, click on person. And I'm just looking at some basic information about him. Here is that record hint. Family Search is saying, hey, this might be him. And so in this census record, I have a Joseph Riley, and he is a brickwork laborer, and he is married to an Elizabeth Riley, And it's possible, but I have here that the marriage date is 1904. So in this case, if he was married to an Elizabeth, if it was this Elizabeth, they would not have been married in 1901. The other thing that seems a little different to me is the birth location. It says here the birth for him is Burnley in Lancashire, and we have this other location. So I'm not convinced that this is him. Now, rather than marking it immediately as not a match, I think I'm going to wait and I'm going to see if I can't find him or see if we already have the 1901 census connected to him. Let's look at sources. And sure enough, look, here we have the 1901 census for a Joseph Riley. And let's go ahead and click on that. And I could go and look at it and see if it matches up more. And so this one gives me just some other information of what he's doing. He's a coal miner. He was not married at the time. He's listed as a son. The birth year matches up, and look, the birthplace is the Stacksteads, which is what I would have wanted to see. And in this particular census record, here's his mother, Elizabeth A., and I can see up here that his mother was Elizabeth Ann, so that matches up. And I've got Joseph, Martha, James, Ruth Ellen, Samuel, and Annie. Those are all brothers and sisters of his. And I could go and take a look. Now this has already been attached, so let's review the attachments just really quick to make sure that everybody was attached to everyone in Family Tree and everybody matches up. So here are the names. Again, on the left-hand side, I've got the source linker open. Here are the names on the left-hand side that were in the England and Wales census in 1901, and here are the people in Family Tree connected by relationships. We were focused on Joseph Riley when we started this process, and as you can see, that source had already been attached to him. That's where we found it, was on his person page, and so that's why this is green. But you can also see that it was not attached to everybody in his family. So, but let's see if everything matches up. We have Elizabeth Ann right here, and the birth year matches right up. And then we have other kids. We have his sister Martha Jane in 1879. That matches up. We have James, we have Samuel, and we have Annie. So everything matches up at this time. And we probably should look at the record really quick while we're here, because I bet, let's see if Elizabeth Ann is a widow. And so here's the family here. Elizabeth Ann Riley, Elizabeth A. Riley, she is a widow. So the husband has died, and then here are the kids and what their occupations are and where they were born. Okay, so let's go back and link everybody up while we're here and put this source on the person page of all of these individuals. So again, I am going to add where they're living in 1901 and attach. I'm going to do the same for Martha Jane, add and attach, James, add and attach, Samuel, add and attach, and Annie, add the piece of information and attach. And so now we've added a link to the 1901 census on all of these individuals' person pages. We've proven that the relationships that we see in Family Tree, that these are all brothers and sisters, and they are all children of this woman here. They're all correct. And if there was other information that we needed to change, we could also do that at this time. So I'm going to go ahead now and go back to Joseph Riley. And let's get rid of that other record hint that was listed there, because now we know we've seen him in the 1901 census and it fits. And now we know for sure that this Joseph Riley in this 1901 census page is not the Joseph Riley here in my tree. And so I'm going to click not a match, and I'm going to put Joseph Riley was not married in 1901, and the birth locations are different. I could also put that The occupations were different as well, but sometimes occupations change. And we already have the 1901 source. So again, really easy to find and attach sources using what are called the record hints in Family Search. We're letting Family Search do the work for us.